if two countries go to war with one another, let's say you're visiting R. R goes to war with A. You're a citizen of country A, but you're visiting country R, and R goes to war with A. What do you do? Hello, thank you for tuning in. This is Mr. Maxwell. Today I'm in the Philippines. I've been in the Philippines a couple weeks now, so right now I'm sitting inside the condo with the AC blowing. Matter of fact, I'm gonna cut it off for the sake of this video right now. I'm gonna take the heat for you guys. And yeah, I'm coming to you today because one of my guys had brought a situation to my attention yesterday, and I want to share it with you guys. I want to share it with you guys in case you're thinking about traveling to the Philippines or anywhere overseas or anywhere abroad.
Well, China may or may not be able to revive its economy, but it never has any trouble reviving territorial disputes. The latest flashpoint is with the Philippines. We told you about what happened on Sunday. A Chinese ship collided with a Philippine vessel. It was a collision. China was attempting to blockade the smaller boat to keep it from moving about in Filipino waters. Of course, China says these are disputed waters. We'll get to Beijing's ridiculous claims in a moment. But first, let's look at the latest developments to this clash at sea. It sent alarm bells ringing in the US. Now, Washington and Manila are longtime allies, and Joe Biden thought that he needed to remind China of this.
I want to be clear. I want to be very clear. The United States defense commitment to the Philippines is ironclad. The United States defense agreement with the Philippines is ironclad. Any attack on the Filipino aircraft vessels or armed forces will invoke our mutual defense treaty with the Philippines.
Biden is talking about a treaty that was signed in 1951. The one he says is ironclad. Here's what the treaty says. If one country is attacked, the other will come to its aid. Practically, it means that if the Philippines is attacked, the US will defend it. That's the treaty. And Biden has just reaffirmed that commitment, calling it ironclad. Perhaps he thought he needed to say this out loud, both to remind Beijing and to reassure Manila. Because the US and China have been working on their ties. We told you about this yesterday. Top officials from both sides, America and China, have been meeting regularly. They're working to set up a big meeting, a meeting between Joe Biden and Xi Jinping. It could happen next month. Plus, Xi Jinping has said that he is willing to cooperate with the US to manage the differences. And as we speak, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi is in Washington. He'll be there till Sunday, and reports say he's meeting Joe Biden tomorrow. That meeting was already going to be tough, but after Biden's speech, it will only get more awkward. How did China respond to that speech? Along expected lines so far, this is what they said.
The US is not party to the South China Sea issue. It has no right to get involved in a problem between China and the Philippines. The US promise of defending the Philippines must not hurt China's sovereignty and maritime interests in the South China Sea. And it must also not enable and encourage the illegal claims of the Philippines.
You heard her. She said the US has no right to get involved. Translation, don't interfere as we bully our smaller neighbors. That's what China is essentially saying. And for those of you who still don't know, China is quite greedy when it comes to the South China Sea. It's a disputed region. Let's show you on the map. This is South China Sea. And this is China's infamous 9-dash line. Everything within this line is claimed by China, the entire area. Beijing says it's theirs. And this goes against international law. It breaches the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Now, what does that law say? What does the UN law say? It says all nations have an exclusive economic zone in the waters around their country. So the area around your shores belongs to you. How much area? About 370 kilometers away from a nation's shores. This is their exclusive economic zone. This is the law. And this means that China's 9-dash line is a farce, a way to bully its neighbors, a way to grab their resources for itself. And these are all smaller players. They cannot match China's military, like the Philippines. On its own, the Philippines cannot fight China, which is why it needs help from the US. In fact, all the countries located around the South China Sea face Beijing's aggression. And that's the reason why they've let Washington set up bases and alliances all over the region.
When I was asked, when we put together the deal, I was asked by Xi Jinping, were we just trying to surround China? I said, no, we're not surrounding China. We're just making sure that the sea lanes remain open.
Well, that explanation seems to be a bit disingenuous, but the fact remains that China's neighbors need the US to protect themselves. If Beijing wants the US to stay out of the South China Sea, it needs to give up its expansionist tendencies. But given China's record, that's asking for too much.
Yeah, this is a situation where China has crossed over into the borders of the Philippines, of the Filipino waters. And the Philippines are letting them know not to do that. China is a much bigger, much more powerful country than the Philippines. However, the Philippines is allied with the United States, as you see. What does that mean for us, travelers, people visiting other countries? If they were to go to war, what happens with us? Are we stuck here? Do we go to the embassy? What do we do? Now, from what I understand, if two countries go to war with one another, let's say you're visiting R goes to war with A. You're a citizen of country A, but you're visiting country R, and R goes to war with A. What do you do as a citizen? Depending on the country you're in, the financial status of the country, the status as if it's a first world, second world, third world country, whatever type of country it is, you can get a warning from that country, hey, you need to leave or face consequences. You could be a prisoner in a 5-star hotel. Depending, like I said, depending on the status of the country, you could also be a prisoner back in the jungle, somewhere in a hole, in a bamboo cage. You know, you can lose it all. When I say lose it all, you know what I mean. So it depends. In this situation, if the two countries are allies and they go to war with another country, where does that leave us as visitors? If two countries are allies and they go to war with another country, because they're allies, but I'm still not a citizen. We're still not citizens of this country, but they're going to war with another country as allies. That's still not a comfortable situation. So in that instance, I would suggest that keep your ear to the ground, stay alert, understand what's going on. Well, that's what I'm doing because I'm in that situation. I'm over here in the Philippines. I'm staying alert, staying abreast of the news. Not only stay alert when I did that video, walking through the streets, you gotta be alert for the phone snatchers. You also have to be alert as to what's happening on a global level as well. Stay alert, be aware, stay alive. And if you find out that these countries, if a war does break out, if you find out that a war does break out, then it's probably best that you just get the next plane ticket out of there. And that's another thing I tell you guys, or I'm suggesting to you guys. You do what you want to do. I do understand, or I don't understand putting yourself in the trick bag unnecessarily. When you travel to another country, make sure you have your ticket back home. Don't do one-way tickets, y'all. I'll get there, then fly back. Too many things can happen and you get stuck out there. Have your round trip ticket. Also, have enough money to buy a ticket if you need to. If you miss your flight or anything happens that causes you to miss your flight, then have enough money to buy a ticket. If you don't have enough money to buy a ticket, at the very least, fellas, have a credit card with enough money on it where you can purchase a ticket. if you don't have enough cash on hand or something like that, I keep at least 3 credit cards with me that I can buy a ticket with. I like to carry this passport wallet. Keep my passport, a couple credit cards in there, little cash. I keep 3 credit cards. I do not use these credit cards while I'm traveling. They're like a safety net so I don't get stuck. In case I need to get a plane ticket, I can just go ahead and do that. Man, it's hot and got hot quick since I cut that AC off. Man. But what we do for the sake of journalism, I really would like you guys to be careful and plan out your trips as thoroughly as you can. You'll probably never think of every single thing. Murphy's Law, what can happen will happen. Just be mindful, be careful, understand what's going on around you when you do travel and what can happen. You're in another country, you're in another world. You don't know the people, the lingo, the culture. You're in another country, another part of the world. You're experiencing a different culture, different lingo, different way of doing things. What means one thing in the United States might mean something totally different over here. Just know that, understand that, and know where you at. I will say that, as always, man, I enjoy the Philippines. The Philippines is a beautiful country, beautiful people. I'm going to go off script a little bit. Now, you know what? I'll talk about that later. So, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. This is Mr. Maxwell. Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, thumbs down. Either way, I wish you well.